Absolutely not. I don't think this will ever be used, but it is a viable option that could be used.
Don't even put it there, that's.
But it's a viable option that could be used. The alternative to that, I'm saying we're not gonna do private school.
You're not only
then
punishing
just do
the
it
kid, you're punishing the school.
To a degree, but the school has to maintain its standard, right? If you don't have a standard, then what's under?
Don't have this at the state its own way. If kids don't comply.
Then you get in the fight later with, I mean, I think leaving it in there is not a harm. It's a possibility is how I look at it. This is, you have, the school has to operate within these boundaries. You could do what you want in here, but you can't exceed this.
I'd say take it out, but you guys are the majority rule, so.
I would leave it there as an option, January to Friday school, as an option. Hmm? What do they? You guys' opinions.
You could leave the suspension and expulsion in there too, but they're gonna do that. It's just option, there's just rules we have no to adopt it and do no discipline. We get to choose what we use. You don't have to use all of them, you don't have to use any of them.
So for me on this page, I leave all the brackets.
We have expulsion part of it is if actions taken by a student violate another conduct policy. They're not saying this policy, they're saying another.
And Friday school, we do the same thing.
No, I don't give up, I give up. I don't surrender, but I surrender.
No.
He's looking for a dunk tank. I know when they comes to ask me for money for a Friday school student, I say no.
We're gonna say it's already in the budget anyway.
It's okay, Sherry's gonna tell me no before.
We already.
Yeah, so on
So all
the,
brackets on that page,
yeah,
for Jessica, all brackets on
The
that.
change to Saturday and
The
Friday.
change is Friday.
and then, administrative, regulation is just the form, and I don't believe there's up at the top, the device prohibit.
Oh, no, wait, you're on the last page, yeah, brackets.
Is there a third on the,
And I think the appeal to call it.
yeah, the building superintendent,
And then if they have issues, they can file through the complaint process.
through the complaint
I don't
process,
want to get in.
yep,
And then we also like the last bracket, this policy case check on January 1, 2026, or what day within the future.
yes,
Well,
January of 2026.
so the brackets on that page excluding the important with that lines out.
And then the AR, there's a copy of the AR in there. A parent or guardian may request an exception to the personal electronic device prohibition by submitting the following form to principal. So that doesn't change. And I think
Bottom
that,
of the page. For one, the maximum duration of the exception should be the middle one, right, at the end of the spring. So every year. it's-
yes, every year. Yep,
So the middle bracket
yep.
on the sub one.
That's it.
On the last page, we have like 3 more,
Well, we just didn't use,
10 days.
And
10
Oh, yeah.
days for the receipt, for review, and then superintendent,
yep,
and then the exceptions, 1 through 6.
yep. Okay, that was cumbersome. I'm sorry. Thank you for working through that. And
It's only the first one.
yeah, yeah,
Let's do it one more time. Second by the end. 5.1 FFA National Convention, and also required.
Okay, good, yeah. This is your case law, she's our chapter president, and I'm capable. supervisor. We are coming tonight to request your approvals for us to head attend National Buffet Convention. Sorry, I didn't, I'm not. Was there?
You're good. I don't need to see it.
Okay, so this is kind of a breakdown for us specifically and kind of what we're looking at for National Convention. For those of you who don't know what National Convention is or have never been or seen it online, this is their statement that is on that first page. It's the largest annual gathering of FFA members in the nation, where over 70,000 members, advisors, and guests come together to compete, learn about agricultural careers, network and industry leaders, attend workshops, and vote on issues facing the organization. In a sense, it's a sea of blue jackets. All the FFA members wear blue jackets while they're there. The advisors are dressed up in their nice outfits, and you look in the room and it is nothing but blue. It's a kind of outstanding thing to see. When you get to that next page there, when is National Convention this year? It's October 29th through November 1st. We're planning to travel anywhere from, depending on flights, anywhere from the 28th to the 29th, and then coming back somewhere along the day of the 3rd of November. That gives our students a little bit of time to do tours, but also see Indianapolis, which that is where it's held, is in Indianapolis, Indiana. Right now, we currently have one student, Ms. GK, planning to attend. This has kind of been a 4-year thing that I've been talking with kids about. Every kid's situation is a little different, and I'll kind of explain that when we get towards the end. But right now, she is our one kiddo who is like, yes, I'm going, I'm putting money down, let's go, kind of a thing. So I would like to attend with her for sure this year, if not with additional students, if that seems fit, depending on some other logistics. So why do we want to go? I want to give this great opportunity for students to learn about a variety of ag in not only in that area, but also in a different view of it. And that'll come with some of our tours and workshops that they'll understand, as well as new leadership skills for some of those students to bring back and share with other students. And then again, just new areas that they haven't thought of. That next page starts to break down some of our costs that we've been looking at. Flights right now, last I looked for a round trip, you're looking at about approximately $380. We're planning to fly into Indy out of Medford and coming back into Medford out of Indy. Again, that's depending on the day and everything, and when we plan to book those flights will depend on those prices. Luggage, depending on the airline, is about $80 max for both there and back, for them to be able to take one their carry-on and one checked bag. So in total, a kid is looking at $460 a flight. Rental car, we're looking at about $55, $56 a day. With the fees included, we're looking at around $600 for that rental car that students have been fundraising for throughout the event or throughout the last few years. I did a little research because I know gas is going to have to be paid in some way, shape, or form. So I put some prices down there kind of in the sense of budgeting wise. It's not a guarantee right now. Quick Google search, gas right now out of Indianapolis is $3.10 a gallon. And it also says that an average person out of Indianapolis is spending about $200 a month on gas. I wish. However, we always like to over budget because I can't guarantee anything. One of the tours is technically in Kentucky. Wrong one. In Kentucky to attend Louisville Slugger. So we will be driving 2 hours to get there and 2 hours to come back in that. So that also gives it a little buffer room for there as well. Best Western is kind of our hotel that we tend to choose even in the state of Oregon when we're planning to go somewhere. We have an account with the chapter, so it goes on there, it earns points we can use later too. It's approximately, because they know it's happening, those hotel costs depending on the night and how many kids, it kind of looks anywhere from 170 to 201 a night. We're there for about 5 nights. We will need 2 separate rooms as of right now, one for GK and one for me, depending on students and final numbers might change those, in the total in the long run. But right now, we're looking at about $2,000 with tax on hotel rooms for those kids.
Did you really make that very close to the money?
In a room by herself, I'm like, I'm pretty sure she can. There's so many, yes. I,
You can't get secure on the.
Yes. and I always book, when I book the hotel rooms, I always make sure that my rooms are next to theirs. So I call ahead and be like, hey, I need rooms next to each other. So I'm either only overtime across the hall or right next to her. And it's worked out really well. for
So you
that.
got like take outside of the door and. it's-
Oh, I do, yes. Yeah, that's very much true.
That's an educator trick of the training.
Oh, I do.
We did.
There's been times where I will change the color of the tapes depending on how many nights we're there. So even if the kid is like, hey, go put blue tape on my door from another chapter, then that night it's not blue tape because it was blue tape the night before. It's a different color this time. So then I know. And I go in the morning and take the tape off and knock on the door so that they know they're to go down and get breakfast kind of thing. So. These are definitely things that I've thought through for many of years, looking at traveling with the kids on a regular basis. I'm gonna let Kay kind of talk about the tours that we're planning to go to.
Interrupt you for just one
Yeah.
second. I think it's important if you haven't already done this. Is parents and students need to know about real ID. Fly.
Yeah.
So that's what you need to let them know that it's kind of stuff to do.
And also, when we're pointing out like events and fundraisers, that's like one of the main things we discussed. So all the kids that were originally planning on going already know.
So we've talked about it. I wanted to come and get final approvals from you guys before I really sit down with parents and talk about those things of real ID and be like, okay, do we have the real ID? I also wanted to connect with Jana a little bit more because she's taken students out of state before and meeting those IDs, if they're minor versus not minor kind of situation on the airport, because I don't know all those logistics, but those will be up in the conversation. So I'm going to let Kay take over a little bit on the tours.
So we have at least four tours planned that cost money. So the speedway, we'll be learning the automotive industry and history of track in general and how vehicles are built. I know some of our FFA members are wanting to go into mechanics, so it'll be a good opportunity for them to learn in police park. What's it called? Race cars are built and how they operate. And a lot of chapters go there, and from pictures I've seen, it looks really, really fun. I would like to go back to my dad that had it there, so. We're also,
Just saying.
even, the NCAA Hall of Champions for the ag sports and their history. She kind of came up with this one.
So I'll explain a little bit. It's the College Hall of Champions, their sports. And from seeing it myself, there's a wide history on how things have changed over time and how we can change or look at the agriculture that goes into those products over time. Like football used to be pigskin, now it's cattle. And how that changed and how that look has changed over time and utilizing ag in those and here.
And being able to visualize over just being told on it is different than just sitting down with the teacher. This is what that was made of. With no picture visual visualization. So it would be awesome for at least me. Right now, to go see it. We're going to, like she said, we will get that word sluggers. And we need to know the history of the forestry and how bats were made. And knowing how we process and made it into that. And I think that would be pretty cool as well. Some kids are also interested in like forestry. I know we are wanting to compete in the contest this year. So getting an understanding of how they made bats from trees and what different types of trees and benefits they can get would be awesome. And then we're going to one farm Fair Oak Farm, and it's a large produce, production, long word. Sorry, I'm really tired, I gotta put the practice. And coming from a small community, even though we do have farms, we don't get to really see big productions of cattle, chicken, hogs, stuff like that. So being able to visualize and knowing how big those farms, and being able to learn how they run them, and knowing the industries and who they connect with, and how they do processing their meat, or knowing how to properly take care of a large property of cattle would be beneficial for people that show low self-effect.
One of the things, if you've never heard of Fair Oaks Farms, recent numbers have showed that in their animal head count, they have about 38,000 dairy cattle, as well as the 38,000 head of hogs. So for our kiddos, that's significantly more than what they're used to seeing. And it would just be a big eye opener for it. In addition to that, they're going to also be, like I said, doing their workshops while at the convention, on leadership, other things that they can bring back to the chapter and whatnot. But also working with colleges and careers, because there's a gigantic college and career fair that they get to go to and meet. And as JK being a senior, she'll get to meet some of those schools that maybe she hasn't gotten to talk to yet, that she's been looking at, which will be fun.
And last time I checked, from my experience as a state convention, big leaders, I don't know if the national FFA officers will be teaching these workshops, but some of the national might be, some different state officers being able to get the opportunity to meet those other state officers and seeing the different workshops and how different leaders are built and how they work is a great opportunity, especially for me as our chapter president and also running for state. So being able to see and visualize those leaders and knowing how they properly work with their teams and people surrounding them.
So the last little piece of information there is a grant opportunity. National FFA puts out a grant opportunity specifically for travel assistance. I've gone ahead and applied for that grant. I was supposed to know last Friday if we received it. I got an email on Thursday saying they're pushing it back to this coming Friday. Last year they gave out 3 grants for the state of Oregon alone. There's no guarantee on how much. I've currently put in to attend 6 kids because I've had up to 8 kids say if they had additional assistance, they'd be able to go. So the goal is with that is even if we only get 1 or 2 more kids to go, that's 1 or 2 more kids that weren't eligible.
Have you considered your fundraising efforts with your greenhouse to help offset those expenses of travel?
Some potentially, it would have to be a discussion with the greenhouse class because it's been a set thing where it's been set aside specifically to eventually bring in a secondary perennial greenhouse so that we can keep it going as a smaller scale. But there is a potential, and it being student body account, I don't want to just take that money and be like, hey, we're gonna use it for this kind of thing. I don't foresee them not giving us some form of a grant through this, due to the fact that of the 3 chapters that received it last year, my home chapter even received it, and my class was 400 kids. So it's one of those things where not just small schools are getting it, but also larger schools can earn it as well.
This opportunity for an international convention. I know a lot of our kids in our chapter haven't even been outside of state or even been on. So this is also providing just sometimes the most basic experiences to kids that don't get the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for a small school.
It also is our school and chapter.
National stage.
Last time I was in Indianapolis with the FFA, we went 2 other places that I don't know if it's on your list or not, but that I would hit for sure. One is you gotta go to Churchill Mines. That was one of the best tours
Yes,
that I've ever been part of. And then the other is you gotta rent a car, go into Ohio and go check out Amish country and stop and purchase some things at some Amish farms. That's an amazing experience as well.
In conversation with the advisors that I've been working with to kind of help me with planning some of these things, they call it they do 2 routes. They do the Chicago route or they do the Kentucky route. And so they go through Louisville, Kentucky. This year, with everything happening so fast, I downscaled a little bit, but yes, Kentucky Derby, Churchill Downs, those are things that in the future that I'm like, I want those kids to be able to go there. They're amazing tours. It's fun. I got the opportunity when I went to actually watch horses running around the Kentucky Derby racetrack. And it's just an outstanding thing to see and get to even just be in the presence.
Now, the cool thing on that tour is they take FFA kids back to the horse stalls. Where normal people that are running, they can't. It's amazing. Yeah, just a couple ideas, but good job. I'm excited for you guys.
Any other questions or concerns for us?
So so you're asking the board potentially fund the money?
No, just for approval that we can go, because they're leaving the state. We're leaving.
No, so- Yeah, no, I get that. So there's the normal form that gets it, but but through me off our app, the grant.
So it's been a grant through National FFA. I've already submitted it. They're going to tell us if we received the grant on Friday.
But if they say no,
JK and I have been working on figuring out pricing so that she still is able to go, so we can get her at least to go. The grant is to allow additional students to be able to go.
It's to make it less expensive since we're not the most richest community. It's allowing the kids to being able to afford to go.
no, absolutely. It just threw me off a little because Ms. Joan asked if it was gonna pay for it, the answer was no.
No,
So then it's like, okay, wait a sec, who's paying for what? So-
sorry, the greenhouse and FFA account are separate right now, which is why I said at the start, yeah. So that's your way.
I move to approve the Great National Convention access to, second,
Question two. So Ms. Baker. Anybody else? Ms. Rolls?
yes,
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you're gonna require her to come back and share her experience.
absolutely.
She already is required to. It's part of the agreement, which is why she's here.
no agreement, it gets to know.
Now it's forcibly against your will. So,
Yeah.
you must be calling the suit, this train. We'll be able to go faster than the train.
One year when I went, there was no cars running. The second year I went for my American degree, it was very much, we got there and there were just cars running around and we were like, what is happening? Some person had paid for a trip around the track a few times in a car and we were just sitting there watching. It's a lot of money.
Just the
Great.
sound.
Yeah, that sound is really cool. So thank you so much for approving this tonight. We really truly appreciate it. And we will inform you on what the grant says.
Definitely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 5.2 ODE.
Yeah, just,
Thank you.
just wanted to highlight the facility assessment, the ODE, spent a bunch of money on statewide to gather information about the condition, a 20-year condition of buildings in every school district across the state of Oregon. And this 20-year assessment basically is building a budget based on what at current inflationary costs would cost if we planned out 20 years to address maintenance issues as a district, some of which is a little bit crazy. Like they have things from signs have to be 36 inches, so if they're 30 inches, you gotta replace it or repair it. To 20 years from now, it'll cost $1.5 million to pave the parking lot over at the gym, or $72,000 to rewire the old gym because there's some old older wiring in that building that's dated, not inspected, but dated back as old. So anything that was more than 40 years of age, they just assumed some things and then put them in the cost estimates that would give us a top amount of money that it would cost within 20 years. And if you did it before 20 years, it would be less than that. So There's, some interesting things that they found, on that assessment. I would encourage you to go through it. We'll utilize some pieces of it in our comprehensive plan conversation as we move forward with, budget and facilitatory needs, with comprehensive planning. ODE has a plan to take these numbers from all the districts and take it back to the legislature to have a conversation about, look, in 20 years, at the maximum number of years in our districts across the state, there's this amount of money that's tied to deferred maintenance and repair of school district buildings and facilities that the legislature needs to try to figure out how to address, because some districts either don't go for bonds, can't pass a bond, what have you, but have these deferred maintenance issues as districts. And so they're creating a narrative, to go back to the legislature with, and that was really the driving force behind the facility assessment. In total, there was 1,200, and the report's 129 pages long. There are 2,244 items of either repair or replace on the list for a total of $10,546,700. Yeah, so it gives you, a picture of, yeah, wow. The cool thing about the whole assessment was that they didn't find anything in our district as a 911 in regards to safety. Now, we know we might have a 911 issue, but that was not picked up in this assessment because it was case, and they didn't inspect at the level that they would have had to find that. But the reality is safety concerns in all the buildings. They didn't find anything that was a 911. So that was
Go
good.
in the bus barn?
They did actually go in the bus barn, but you can't see it because it's boxed in. So, and they didn't crawl into the attic, and, you know, we know that that's an issue and we're gonna address it somehow, but the rest of our facilities were pretty solvent. Yeah, we need to replace some gutters, and we need new fascia, and we need to paint, the entryway to X, Y, or Z. I mean, all of that stuff. And then when you're dealing with school districts, how they figure the money, it's all based off the living wage. And so it just, it explodes really fast. So that's what I have on the ODE facility assessment. And then can I lead the conversation?
Yeah,
Or
we
start the
accept it, it's just
conversation?
notification we received.
Yeah. It's not an action item, it's just you guys have seen it, it's in the board packet.
So before we get to 5.3, I just want to confirm we are having a 5.3. Okay, fine, you can leave.
So
That's it, Jeffrey.
You're
So
gonna have to accept it.
Be back next.
Friday school.
I didn't even put my phone out tonight. They're going off though. So.
I don't even know where to start this, so I'm gonna start where it makes sense in my brain. When I got hired, I'm gonna just speak from my perspective, not the district's perspective, because I think we all know what the district's perspective is, and I wrote a letter to Jenny that I'd like to read to the board tonight. But before I read the letter, I wanted to share a little perspective. As I get older, personally and professionally, I become more reflective about life, about paths, the people that cross your path, the people that support your path, the people that don't support your path, and the people that you get to work with and call a professional colleague and a friend, and somebody that I've looked to for guidance. And nobody on the board knew what you were getting when you hired me, and I didn't know what I was getting as superintendent when I came to Prospect. In fact, I was spooked about it, to be honest with you, because it was my first opportunity to be a superintendent and work with community members on the level in which we have worked the last 4 years. And honestly, I have shared this with my parents. I've shared this with my kids. I've shared this with colleagues. I've talked about each of you on lots of different levels, from ordering beef to Wyoming cowboy, to the health scare that we had with Ray, to Josh's brain and his brawn when it comes to what he believes is marked in his conscience as being right, and your job, and how your job has contributed to the leadership of this district, to Debbie calling me and saying, hey, we got this hayfield, would you like to cut this hayfield? to Jenny. And when I have expressed to the people that are in my circle of my friends and colleagues on this board, I've shared that Jenny, to me, is a bright spot in the world. That she has been nothing but supportive, that you have been nothing but positive, that you have been willing to put in the time and the effort and the energy with a smile on your face, and everybody knows it and sees it. And that's pretty amazing. And so to give 6 years, and I could go around the room and I could share the same thing with each of you, because you have given of your time selflessly to the leadership of this district. And I am super, super proud of what we've been able to accomplish in 3 years. We still have a long ways to go. And each of you bring your own perspective, but stop for a second and reflect of where we have been and the conflict that there was, and the conflict continues because we are all individuals. But I love arguing with Ray. But at the end of the day, collective unity and creating some cohesion has really been the goal of this board, and really been the goal of me as being your superintendent. And I could not do it without the individual efforts of each of you and the perspective that you had as leaders being on our school board. And Jenny, you've been a huge, huge part of that. I remember sitting in a union meeting with labor and negotiating with Ray on you and Ray, negotiated a contract that we got done in 6 days, 6 meetings. That's not normal.
No.
That's exceptional.
No.
And it's because of perspective. It's because of your willingness to serve the other people that work this school district. And I'm just super proud, and I'm super proud to be able to call you a friend and a colleague, and you will be missed immensely. So with that, I want to read this letter. I had a chance to kind of sit down, just kind of formulate my thoughts a little bit, probably less so than what I just shared. But dear Jenny, on behalf of my desk as the superintendent of the Prospect School District, I'm writing to express my deepest gratitude for your years of dedicated service as a member of our school board. 4 years ago, when you were part of hiring me as your superintendent, I had no idea what I had inherited as a school board member and team. This being said, your membership has been so vitally important to so many things concerning the direction of our district. Your contributions to the leadership and course of the Prospect School District has been unparalleled. Your commitment to our students and our community has left a lasting impact on the entire school community. We are particularly grateful for your insightful contributions to the signing of a new staff contract, setting school board goals, as well as your positivity in all things. Your leadership and wisdom has been instrumental in the advancement of my leadership. Wow, geez. And I will forever appreciate your influence and energy. I understand that serving on the board requires significant personal sacrifice and time. And I truly appreciate and honor your commitment as a member of our team. Thank you for your unwavering dedication, your thoughtful perspective, and the positive influence you have had while being a member of the Prospect School District Board. While we will miss your presence, we wish you all the best in what comes next for you and yours.
Like I said, I'm the largest video for you. We're going to follow you today, I have no commission. Investor heart rule. I said, all the yesterday, we're going to give you shit. I have never since I anything. It's been my last month, 40 years. It's just a lot of things. There's nothing against school. I have nothing but happy, positive thoughts. I want everything to go well. But I have family. I have to pick up my health. Pretty much the reason why. I don't know what the next 2 months hold for me. I'm moving, I have some surgery. I think I don't wanna die. I just a lot. That I will be, if, the boosters, I talked to Ashley, and we would be happy to help. The discussion. We'll be at games as many as I can attend. I appreciate everybody, and I love you all very much. You're like my family. So, I got very excited, and I enjoyed myself. And it was great for the last 20 minutes.
There's cheesecake.
Also, to me, in this.
Oh, we got some.
Some videos.
So Jenny, thank you for your service, council friendship. With that, I mutually reluctantly accept your resignation and open position for vacancy with a application date by the end of business October 1. I'm gonna make you go first, but. Any questions? Favor? Yes, as well, Mr. Williams.
Wow.
Mr. Baker. That motion is approved. Thank you. And on that, there's a whole bunch of upcoming dates, and we will adjourn the meeting at 8:13.
Aiden Bergman did that.
Who?
Student Aiden Bergman.
Very good.
Mm.
This is the cold drink.
Yeah, he's the.
Okay, but you gotta do some.
Oh.
Okay, you're